Then 4 is use anger's power to motivate.
Right, because again, often what happens, we deal with fear at the same time. So I'm too afraid to confront the very issue, whether it's in my marriage or it's with my friends, etc. Fear often just takes over, and I don't know how to deal with that. So often what we need, or what I said with David and confronting Goliath, we need the courage of anger, the energy of anger to give me the courage to say, I'll do this.
There's a frightening potential for this in these times.
Yeah.
As people are losing jobs and feeling uncertain.
Right.
It's about choices, isn't it?
But fear often takes over again, you see. So I'm so afraid of, I won't have the finances, I won't have this. And so fear turns into anxiety. Anxiety, by its definition, by the way, is undefined fear. Once I've lost the fear signal, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. It's a signal. It says, okay, what's going on here? But when I've lost that, it turns into anxiety. Anxiety is a danger to us because I don't like feeling anxious. So here I feel all this anxiety, and then I get angry. And so lots of times when people get into these economic times, anger spews out because it's already in here.
You know, one of my life verses that my girlfriend gave me when I was like 6 was Isaiah 41:10 that said, "Do not fear, for I, God, am with you. Do not anxiously look about you, for I'm your God. I will strengthen you and help you and uphold you with my righteous right hand." And I was thinking about that, saying we live in such fear, and yet God is all throughout the scriptures and promises is that I will never leave you. You don't need to fear. I will take care of you. It's like he's trying to pound it in to remind us over and over again, why are you freaking out, having low-grade anger, when I am with you always? And it's kind of one of these things, it's like, I need to kind of receive that every day, because I don't know why I'm afraid, I feel frustrated, and yet over and over again in the Bible, he says, why are you doing that, Melinda? I've promised that I would never leave you and that you don't need to fear at all.
Right.
It's just one of those things, you know.
And Graham, I think a lot of people need to deal with their fear every day and their anger every single day, especially if it's something they've been putting into that pot for years and years. It's not something that can just go away immediately. It's something they've got to give to God every single day. You know, I have a feeling someone's watching right now that says, okay, you have been reading my mail. You have hit it right on the mark in my life. Where do I start to deal with the anger? What do I do? What is the beginning point? Give me something I can do every morning to start to chip away at the anger that I've been holding on to, Graham. Talk to that person.
Well, I mean, again, I think what you end up having to do is, it's not an easy process. If you've got a storehouse of anger that goes way back, and you know you've got issue after issue after issue, I think you've got to find a friend, find a counselor, a pastor, someone who's mature enough to handle it, okay, so that you can go back and deal with that. And then I think probably even just beginning with prayer and saying, God, help. I mean, that's one of my favorite prayers. Help, God, I need you. And starting at that point, I realize my anger's out of control. I've got so much pain back here, I've never worked it through. Now, I don't know how to be sort of succinct with that in terms of saying, well, maybe I should say buy the book. You know, I'm not, not that I'm trying to sell it per se, but I mean, because it has a message in it which helps you practically, because it's not a quick thing, Anne. It's not like I can do it in just a minute, you know.
What if someone says, yeah, but actually I'm angry with God?
Yes.
Because things have happened in my life that really came out of nowhere, and how could he let that happen?
Yeah.
What do you say to them?
And I say to them again, you have to go back to God and say, I'm angry at you, God. I'm angry at you. You've hurt me, but I don't want to remain angry at you. I know you love me. You know, the people that we love the most can hurt us the most. You know, that's an interesting thing, isn't it? And so we have to go back and acknowledge, boy, even though I love God, I can be angry at him, and if I'm angry at him, I'm distant from him. So I start with an anger expression, but I'm angry at you, but I don't want to be. Now, God, help me to work this through. And then you often have to have somebody help you work it through.
And you know what the good part is? Because I've done that exactly. I've walked that road when I was a teenager. My parents had a baby, my baby brother, and he died suddenly. And I was angry at God.
Absolutely.
And I locked myself in a bedroom for hours, and I had it out with God. I was yelling and crying and saying, how could you do this to our family? And you know what I found through that process is God isn't afraid of our anger.
No, he's not
It
bothered
doesn't
by it.
surprise him. He already knows.
Yes.
He's just waiting, saying, I've been waiting for you to come and be honest with me.
That's right.
And that's when the healing can start, is when we just lay our cards on the table and say, this is me, warts and all, and I'm not happy right now.
Right.
help me.
Yes.
And God says, oh, boy, can I help you.
There's freedom in that, eh?
Oh, yeah.
To be yourself,
So
to be authentic, and to just say, all right, you know what, these are my feelings, it's out here. There's such freedom.
And in fact, Graham and his wife had a stillborn baby.
Yes.
You've been that journey.
We've been that journey, yeah.
And I don't know if people are going to wrestle with this, but you say God isn't fair. He is sovereign.
That's right, because you can't say to God of the universe, you know, you must do things my way. You actually have to say to God of the universe, I submit to you, I surrender to you. And until you do, you're fighting God. You know, it's like a teenager fighting their parents all the time until they submit and say, you know what, you know, you're in charge. I have to let you be in charge.
And you have the best for me is what I think we need to trust, that God has the best for us. We actually do not have the best for us most of the time, or all of the time.
Right. But you know, a lot of the issues with God stem back to parents, though. See, I'm angry at God because in my perception of God, I'm angry at my father or my mother, and that anger has never been resolved, and so I have transferred that response back there that's not dealt with over to God. You see, and that's where all the issues are.
And we have to separate that.
You do.
Separate.
That's why you have to deal with that back there.
Well, Graham, you go into great detail in your book, Healing Life's Hurts, Make Your Anger Work for You. The purpose and value of anger, turning anger into a friend, the power of forgiveness. It's all detailed here. Thank you so much for being with us.
You're welcome.
We so appreciate it. Where can people pick up this book?
I think on Amazon.com, probably in bookstores. It should be out in bookstores now.
Okay. Or log on to our website at crossroads.ca, and we'll give you a link to Graham, and you can find out more information about what he is doing.